record the desktop.
Oh, look at
Record
that.
on the Z. And you're record. I heard you hit record.
It's got the red box. I'm using on the flip out screen.
Oh, I can't see my flip out screen, but I got a red dot on the front lit up. OBS says it's recording. I think we're streaming. Oh, I see us streaming.
I just muted us. We sound awful.
Oh, I'll bet we do. Do we really?
No. I mean, we sound as good as we're ever going to sound, Pat, which is awful.
Oh, good. Nobody's watching.
Nobody.
Maybe you're
I'm
watching.
I'm watching. Am I a nobody, Pat?
All right, well, I'm going to tell you a story that I wish I recorded, Tubby.
Okay. You're recording it
Browsing
now.
Imager, and I saw a gallery, an image gallery. You know, they're all funny pictures, and the title is "Reasons That People Broke Up." Has all these funny things, and about 8 or 9 images into it, I see this. It says she couldn't name all the Ghostbusters, so I went like this and made Chris sit next to me, and I showed her the picture.
Oh
She
no.
looks at me and she says, "Oh, Winston and Bill Murray. They were the 2 Ghostbusters that she knew. No last names." Then she figured out Dan Aykroyd. But
We might have to delay the live stream so I can drive over to your house and yell at Chris.
I know, isn't this weird? I couldn't understand. I was so confused. I don't understand how you could not know all the Ghostbusters. And she didn't believe me that Louis Tully was the guy with the glasses? She figured out, she said, no, that's Rick Moranis. But I did my best, Tubby. Oh, I got an email that says we're now live.
Oh,
Tubby.
that's exciting. Just in case we didn't notice in the live stream.
I'm going to wait till you cough it out. Oh, I'm supposed to pause our uploads, Tubby.
I told you to do that.
Yeah, but you can't do it until they start.
Well, I reminded you preemptively.
Hey, Tubby,
How's your face?
how's my face?
Yeah.
Well, how are your feet? What?
You got to take care. Which ones did they get?
Oh, way in the back. Way back here. There's they took out the extra wisdom tooth too because there were no teeth underneath it anyway. And the tooth that they had to take out, the wisdom tooth is here, and the other one had its roots up over here. They said that's real complicated. I said, well, we don't need the other one if it doesn't have it didn't have a friend.
Do you feel less wise?
No.
Okay.
Not even at all. But geez, you should see all the dental people, Tubby. I don't know if it's the dentist's assistant at the first dentist. She's like, oh my goodness, here's a wisdom tooth. Look at this. How do you have a wisdom tooth? And they're like, you're not going to believe this. Like 7 and 9. This guy never had 7 and 9. And then at the surgeon place, they're all doing the same thing, pointing and like, oh my gosh, look at all the teeth this guy doesn't have. Because I never had them. They're just teeth I never had. I don't know how this works. So if we don't introduce episodes anymore, how do I
what?
How do I ask? How do you have to ask me about this machinery back here so I could segue into talking about this new thing up here, maybe, because then you'll be the first face anybody sees when we publish this episode.
Why don't I ask you to give an update? Do you have an update to share on? We're not doing the video yet. We're not doing the episode yet.
We can. Yeah, go whatever you.
Yeah. So hey Pat, what's that machine over your shoulder there?
Is it over this shoulder?
Yeah, that shoulder.
Right about here? That is a pick and place machine, Tubby. And that's for picking and placing electronic components onto boards, like these little LED boards here. And there's some news, Tubby.
What news
The
is that?
gentleman, Stephen Hawes, and his company Opulo.io that make this machine, they're releasing a version 2 of the
Oh.
Opulo Lumen PNP kit.
That's exciting. What are the big improvements in the second version?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm a little jealous, Tubby, except that mine's already put together, so it hardly matters. But we've got a picture of it over here in this other window that's playing a YouTube video that I paused. Mine was a kit, like all individual components. We had to 3D. You did the work of 3D
Yep.
printing all these parts here. Now, when you get the kit, it comes with all the 3D printed parts, and it's partially assembled. It's par baked. Can we say it's par baked, like a half cooked pizza?
Sure.
You get two instead of 800 different pieces. You get 2 side rails, 2 build plates, and a Y-axis and the Z-axis already fully assembled. Instead of just getting one vacuum tool for moving components around, it comes with 2, which is pretty exciting.
That is exciting.
And all the wire looms are cut to length, and they're all correct, and they're all ready to just be plugged in. And suppose it's not out quite yet. This is, I think it's. Should I look that up before we started talking?
Maybe.
Well, I'm gonna look that up before I talk more.
You can.
Lumen 2.0.
We're up to 4 people watching.
No way.
Yeah.
How's everybody doing out there in YouTube land, live stream land? Well, this is the wrong thing to click on.
I'm doing good.
Q3 of 2022.
Well, that's now, right? Almost.
It's getting here, and I should
In a
know the
couple
price
weeks?
before I. I should know the price before I.
Are they
Okay.
pre-ordering it?
Let's find out. That's a good thing to ask too. No, I don't see a pre-order. I can learn more. I can add it to my cart, so I guess so.
Okay.
But when I bought our Lumen PNP Tubby for our Uber lights, it was like $1,145 dollars plus shipping, and now it's up to $1,745, and I think that's a really good value to get an entire extra tool for picking up parts. So I don't know how much of a speed up that is, because the 2 tools come over to where your parts are. They pick up 2 parts and bring them back over to the board and place 2. So it's not twice as fast.
No, that's what
but
we're gonna say. Twice as fast.
It's twice
because
as fast,
it's 2 as
3 times as heavy. It's but you also get twice as much build surface. You have lots of area. I have just as much area, but I don't have a second plate. I have to spend money if I want to buy a second plate or make my own or something. I'm sure there's options.
That's cool.
But
That's exciting.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this. Tubby, I'm doing a bad job because we haven't gotten ours picking and placing yet. I've been lazy. I've been doing other things. Can we tell people that?
Yeah.
And
I don't think you've been
I got
lazy.
some teeth removed.
Yeah.
That's not really why, though. That was just last week. But supposedly this will be much closer to ready to go as soon as it arrives. It sounds like you'll be picking and placing in. No, that was definitely sped up there.
I think so. That was probably a little fast.
You get tools. I don't know how I'm going to edit this part into the episode where I talk about. Well, look at that. That's a sexy shot.
That is.
You get this little test board. You get all the pieces to hold the test board down, and you get some components to run the test.
It's like a calibration object or something that you get with an STL file with the 3D printer.
Very much so. And the test board has double sticky tape on it. So you can pull the components back off and it'll
it'll do it again. Over and over.
You'll need more components. You'll need a new strip or you'd have to do a lot of work and put the little tiny resistors back in their pockets. But the resistors are like pennies for several.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like it's very cheap to buy 10,000 resistors. Steven's talking to us about his machine here. But you can order the version? Uh-oh. I was going to call it version 3. Is that right?
2, I think.
2. You know
That's
why
what
I
we
want
say
to
in
call
our
it
notes.
version 3? Because it's quarter 3 that it's going to be out. You can order the Lumen PNP version 2 kit, and it's supposed to be available in the third quarter of this year. I don't know the exact date. And it's about $600 more than the old one. It's $1,745. Did I say that right? Yes. Why do you think they picked 45? Both of the machines have ended in $45.
It's a good question. Maybe it's a lucky number. It's got a
Ooh. I like the sound of that.
emotional significance.
But maybe I'll have to order one so that we could just open it up, put it together, and it'll be ready to pick a place instead of tuning the one that I have. I've got this one moving around. Its camera is working. It's doing cool stuff, but I wish I knew what I got distracted by, Tubby. But I don't have anything to tell the audience
Yeah.
here. But I think that counts as an episode, unless you've got any questions.
I think it counts as an episode. We can blame the weather. It got really hot in Texas right about the time.
So hot. The
that
AC
you-
runs like 80% of the time.
All the time.
I don't know if that's true.
Our power went out for 20 minutes the other day, and I was worried.
Did it come back?
Yes, it came back on. Like after
know-
about 20 minutes. That's an outtake that you can put into Twitter
Yeah, I can.
and social
Geez, there's
media.
29 more reasons why they broke up.
Other than the Ghostbusters, like they needed more than that reason?
Yeah, well, they're different people, I guess. I shouldn't be reading these. I should be looking at the next thing we have to put up for an episode.
Yeah.
Where are the notes?
They're right here.
So we've got your. Let's do your laser tub because then you get to talk.
Okay.
This is the
The time lapse.
time lapse. Is that what I should have up?
Yeah, it's a good one. Especially if it's only if it's muted though. The music is.
Oh yeah, I can't. Yeah, they're always. I try to have them muted all the time, but then that goofs me up. I go to watch a YouTube video tomorrow, and it doesn't
Yeah.
say anything.
You mute it in an incognito window.
Oh. Do they stay muted? Will they all be muted while I have that window open and I keep putting tabs in it, or do I have to mute every? Because that's what I'm happy I don't have to mute every single one.
Yeah, it's a good
Because I
question.
would be going bananas tonight. I'd keep forgetting.
I bet you it stays muted in multiple tabs.
Are you keeping an eye on the chat, Tubby?
I am.
Sometimes people talk to me and I don't know it.
Nobody said anything. The 4 people dropped down to 2. And one of them's me, so
You know, it would have been a good episode for tonight too, but I'm unprepared also anyway.
what would have been a good episode?
Bite-sized Zach's do-it-yourself laser.
Yeah, it would have.
Maybe
been.
I'll mention it here somewhere.
It's a good. This is-
That's not a segue, but it's
His is-
something.
His is big.
It's really big. It's bigger than my CNC.
He was aiming the laser at the mirrors, and it put the
Yeah.
hole in the. It didn't burn a hole in the board, but that board was right in front of him, wasn't it?
Yeah, and the board. I mean, and it's a big. Like your laser cuts a tiny. It has to be focused to
Yep.
do damage, and that's not focused. That was like half the size of a dime, and
Yep.
it burned the.
I like it better like this.
Yeah, it's way better like that. That's what I'm going to tell people. So, Uncle Brian, I heard that you got a small desktop-sized laser machine of some sort.
You mean
Is that true?
like that one right there on my?
Yeah, just like that one right there. What the heck is that?
I did. It's the Ortur Alfaro Laser 2.
I'll put
Yeah.
that on the screen because I don't know how to pronounce that.
Well, you pronounce it just the way that I said it. I think I
Yeah,
said
but
it
how come it
correctly.
doesn't sound like that when I say it?
It's a good question.
That's what I thought.
The A company, I'm not sure who, not a tour, reached out to me and asked me if I was interested in reviewing it for my blog, and I said, "Heck yeah, that looks like a lot of fun." It's they come with one of three different laser modules, and they're different wattages. It's like it's about
But
5
what
watts.
did you get?
The one that I got is about 5 watts, like 5.5, and it's a short focus. It's supposed to be better at engraving, and there's a long focus version which is almost identical in every way, and I guess that's better for cutting.
Okay, yeah, you'll have a longer narrow
Yeah.
beam instead of a more focused.
Fine.
It's a different lens, probably,
Yeah.
I guess.
Um, and I here recently for my blog and YouTube channel, I posted, what I thought about assembling it. And
I have your time lapse playing here. Don't watch it.
I like it.
It's just more
It's
stuff
just
going.
stuff going on. The I mean I assembled it, had it working, had it hooked up to my computer, and had it cutting things within 2 hours, which I was kind of impressed with.
That's
You
not
know,
too bad.
I did
What
a
sort
little
of stuff are you able to put in there? What have you done?
um mostly like for the first 3 nights I just did spare Amazon boxes and cut my logo out of things. And I don't have them because my dog keeps eating them.
Oh, jeez.
Zoe,
Is
she
that
keeps
okay?
Well, it's cardboard. I mean, she must like them.
Fiber.
Every now I used to have like 8 on my table, and every day I'd find one chewed up somewhere, and now I just finally threw them all away.
I'll flash a picture up here from Twitter
Yeah.
somewhere.
There's one.
People
There's a
will
good
see
one
it.
in. There's a good one in my blog, of the cardboard, and then I moved on to plywood, some 3 millimeter plywood. Way back, and like one of my very first blogs was writing about making a laminated QR code with an NFC sticker for joining my Wi-Fi at the house, and I lost that a long time ago. But I thought it would be a neat project for the laser engraver to cut it out of plywood. And this, oh geez, I gotta hide my faces.
There it
That's
is.
better.
There it is.
And really, what I want to be able to do is just hand this to somebody so that I don't have to tell them my complicated long Wi-Fi password, and they
Yeah.
could just scan it with their camera and join our Wi-Fi. Um,
For the people that don't carry internet in their pocket,
yeah,
to share with their laptop.
yeah. I
Like-
guess it. Yeah, that's kind of maybe that's dating myself a little bit. Back in the days
That-
where you didn't have unlimited data and the data was pretty slow and awful.
Geez, a Tubby. I got 485 megabit down when I did a speed test on my new phone
That's
over
fast.
5G the other day. I was very surprised.
You need to do this is off on a tangent, but you need to game on that, see what it's like.
Yeah, well, the uplink is fast enough. It's still
Yep.
25 or 30 megabit or something.
Yep.
And the ping was all right. So how much was this laser? Well,
This-
I understand you were sent it for free. It's
Yes. Yeah, I got
it's like a paid promotional thing.
Yeah.
But if I wanted to buy one, how much would I have to pay?
if
for
you wanted to
this
buy
particular
one,
model?
I think right now they're $370, and they've got like an MSRP of $400.
Well, that's not too bad. I'm
Yeah,
just watching you put it together. I'm gauging the size over here.
It's 390 millimeters squared on each side.
Oh, you know why
It's-
that's fantastic? I was going to guess 400.
That's a great guess.
Look at
You
it.
would have
So
been.
I'm happy. And it doesn't weigh anything. It looks like you could pick it up. So if
Yeah,
you needed to
yeah, it's-
engrave on something like a 4x8 sheet of plywood, you could.
Yep, you could move it around. You could probably just press and hold it up against the wall if you wanted to etch something right into your drywall.
Or on
You'd
my
have to hold
hardwood
it still.
floor.
Or your hardwood floor. well, light enough, maybe even the ceiling. Oh man,
Let's do it.
that's a. Now I want to put my site logo, a big 390 millimeter of my site,
Yeah.
right above
We
my
could
desk.
wedge it up there with like some of those poles that you use to hold lighting
a
that
pan- oh,
extend up. We just put
yep.
two of them, one on two opposite corners.
We just need a long enough USB cable to reach my laptop.
I've got one right here. We could do this.
This this sounds like fun. Maybe we should try it in the
But
garage first.
I understand that you got it for free, and I just want to make sure everybody knows that, just in case I edit one of the other times I've said this out. But would you pay $387 for this? 380
Yeah.
millimeters for this?
390 millimeters. I would pay the $400 for it. I think it's a real good value for as easy it was to set up and get working, for as big as it is, and the number of different materials it can engrave or even cut. I think it's real good value.
I'm impressed. Back when we bought the CO2 laser at the Makerspace, these little lasers couldn't cut anything. They were, I mean, I don't know what their actual wattage was back then, and I don't know that I believe yours is really 5 watts. I don't trust any of the specs on any. I don't trust that ours was 80 watts. The
Yeah.
CO2 laser. I don't believe any of these numbers are right. But the numbers don't matter. It's what it can do that really matters, right? But the ones we had 6 years ago that you would buy like this, they were lucky to cut cardboard, and
Yeah.
yours just plows through cardboard. And I've seen you cut plywood.
Yes. Yeah, I
In
cut.
plywood. So,
This guy was cut out of plywood. He's only 3 millimeters though. He's real.
yeah, but even so, that's still a great job.
Yeah.
Tubby.
And I went on Amazon and ordered a virtual cornucopia of just about everything it should be able to cut. Some acrylic and other things.
I heard you also got a rotary tool to
I
put
did.
underneath this.
That's going to be a topic for a future video. I've only watched a couple videos about it, but yeah, I got a rotary tool so that you can put, something cylinder and engrave on it, or maybe even cut
A
on
mug, a bat,
A mug.
Uh,
it. A wooden bat. I want to do a wooden bat, and then maybe one of my softball bats. They're
yeah.
they're a composite of some sort, though. I don't.
Well, sometimes you could put something on top, a
Yeah,
coating, and then
that's-
engrave the coat. I mean, I know there's a lot of science involved there, and we don't know the science.
We're not scientists, and
We are not scientists.
we don't want to accidentally tell somebody to do something that's toxic.
It's true. And Tubby, between you and me, if you're gonna cut something toxic, you just leave the room and
Yeah.
do it outside or something. But the trouble is, when you cut the things that make chlorine, that's bad for the lenses on the. I mean, that was really what you had to worry about in the CO2 laser, was you would just
Okay.
destroy the lenses and mirrors with the. I mean, it would
Interesting.
get sucked out through those were ventilated right out to.
The
I'm not going
atmosphere.
to say outer space, but
But
out of the building. This is. I know you have a filtration thing you picked up somewhere there, but it comes into the room and you have to inhale it. You have to
Yeah.
puff it before it goes out. So
I haven't
Don't-
used that yet. I asked in my YouTube video if anybody's got good suggestions, other than the one that I already have, to try and filter that. That's kind of funny. I tweeted about it today. I did a materials test that Lightburn's got built right into it. You just plug in some numbers and it does a grid, and like the bottom 2 lines were just. The one that I posted on the internet, I dialed it way back, but the first one, I'm watching it and I'm seeing fire. I mean, not just. I mean, there's actual flame, and
Actual fire.
and
Yep.
it's midnight. My son is asleep, like a few steps over, and I look up and I'm like, oh my god, there's a smoke detector in here. It's like, I'm gonna set off the smoke detector in the middle of the night.
Yeah, I've taken the smoke alarms off the wall to do stuff like. I think I took mine down when I had a laser in here. I had a smaller one that I borrowed from Alex. It's an L-shaped thing. Yours has rails on all 4 sides. This was just
Yep,
2 sides and much smaller and
that
pretty
might have
inexpensive.
been-
It was neat.
That might have been the Alfaro 1. The one that preceded this was kind of L-shaped.
We have.
And there are others. I mean, it seems
There's
like
a ton of them.
There's a ton of them.
But do you have anything special you want to tell us, or should we call that enough talking about a laser?
I think that's it. If people are more interested, they can go read my blog or check out my my video on it, where I go into way more detail.
And check out next week's video, which may be next week's video by the time we publish this, where Brian engraves on something round.
Round.
On the outside, it spins around. It'll be neat.
I have round things that I want to play with, but they were expensive. I don't want to. I didn't mind.
Oh, hi, Richard. Richard's here. Chris
Oh.
knows we already made fun of her. I don't know how she knows, because you were the only one here, Tubby. But she
There were
knows.
two of us for a long time. Yulia says no emphatically.
Yeah. Oh, no, I really did make fun of her. I did it.
You did. Well, she didn't know who the Ghostbusters were.
you
Everybody
imagine
should be
that?
making fun of her. Gunnar knows the Ghostbusters names.
Alvin,
Maybe.
Simon, and Theodore.
No, Chip and Dale. Oh, one of my favorite German people.
I'm going to try to skip into a spot here just to...
This isn't.
This is pretty neat.
This isn't actually a QR code to join my Wi-Fi.
What is it a QR code to join?
I've been rickrolling people with it. Anybody who goes and reads my blog and tries to scan this winds up getting redirected to Sir Rick. Is he benighted? Sir Rick Astley. He must be.
I don't know. I doubt it.
I'm gonna ask Google.
I'm going to look for a picture of this so that...
Sir Rick Astley.
Images. Oh, yeah, this is a good picture.
I
View
don't think
image.
he's benighted. We need to talk to the Queen about that. How much older than me do you think Rick Astley is?
10 years? 8 years?
That's a good guess. 10 years.
I know that's a good guess. That was educated. That was very educated because I know roughly that was the middle of the 80s somewhere when that was. So he was at least like an adult in a legal sense
Yes.
by then, but probably not by much. That was my guess. Don't let the Julies
Hit your teeth.
shift and get you in the face. Well, I'm more worried about that they shift and then all the coffee just
Yeah.
goes
I've
right past.
I've tried to finish off a cup of coffee before and gotten an avalanche of Julie's right in the teeth. That didn't
right in
feel
the
good.
teeth. Good gravy.
I might be a little clumsy too.
I guess I could hit play on Tom Sandlatter's video here. Hey Tubby, do you have a 3D printer?
I do. Can you see it? It's back
Well,
over there.
I can't because they crop Riverside.
Yeah.
You're a square here, so I can't see anything. But I also have a 3D printer, and I got pretty excited about Tom Sandlatter's video. He's telling us that 0.4 millimeter nozzles are dead, and that we need a 0.6 millimeter nozzle. Have you seen this?
I watched this video, but I didn't
Well,
go
what's
out.
what's your opinion? What did you think
I
when you
was
saw it?
I was really excited that the possibility exists that you could start printing faster just by the sheer amount of more volume that you're able to lay down with the bigger nozzle.
You really are, and that's what I should have shown, Tubby. I wish you said that before we started, because somewhere in here he has, some time
Some
comparisons.
some slicer times.
But I remember some of it being, we'll put the real numbers here if I'm totally off, but it was something like sliced the old school way with 0.4 millimeter nozzle was like 2 hours and 40 minutes, and it was more like an hour and a half or an hour and 50 minutes with
Yeah, it was
the new. It was
a big
significant.
chunk of change faster.
So, did you see what the difference is? Well,
I
not the
did.
difference between. It's not. There's a change to Prusa Slicer that's made this possible, and it's this new Arachne perimeter generator. And I'm going to point with my mouse here because I don't know.
Okay.
With the old perimeter generator, the perimeters were always the same width. So,
Yep.
like with this curve here that you see, that it's funny. It has two identical length perimeters on the inside and the outside, and then it tries to fill that space in with
Yep.
these weird pieces of infill here. The new Arachne generator can make wider and narrower perimeters. So, it'll over extrude and you'll get a wider.
Yep.
So it's still the picture on the right here. It still has two perimeters on the inside, two on the outside, but those inner perimeters are thick, chonky boys that are touching each other. And that also works for small details too. Like the old version of the slicer, if you had two lines that come to a point, they'll stop a little early today. They won't.
Yeah.
You won't print what you expect to print. So if everybody's designing for 0.4 millimeter nozzles, when you moved to a 0.6 millimeter nozzle, which is really like about twice as big as a 0.4 by volume, you would lose details. The slicer just wouldn't even output them.
Yep.
But now with the Arachne generator for the perimeters, it will generate narrow perimeters under extruded, I guess you can call them, perimeters. I think that was a reasonable explanation.
I think so too. That was my takeaway watching the video. Is like I understand how this works, but I didn't understand why it works because he's saying point six, but it could do smaller somehow, and I was like, but Tom, it's 0.6. Don't you understand? It's always
That's
0.6.
bigger.
It's,
Don't
it's
you know that that's bigger?
it's not telescoping down. It's not like it's not adjustable. So yeah, I understood what happens. I just didn't understand the why that happens or how.
Yeah. And you lose you lose definition when you go narrower than the nozzle too. Anyway, like I think the default in Prusa Slicer with a 0.4 millimeter nozzle is a 0.45 millimeter perimeter, so it bubbles out ever so slightly, but now it can go smaller on
Even
a perimeter
smaller.
too. But he showed a bunch of benchies. I'll put a picture up here somewhere. We'll find the good. It's very difficult to tell the difference between the 0.6 and 0.4 millimeter benchies.
And they all, if I remember correct, they all looked good. Like
Yeah, they're all more than acceptable.
there,
It's
I mean,
not like
there are people who go way into the weeds dialing in their printers to get the highest quality prints, and I've tried to do that before, and I've looked at the before and the after. The before looked fine, the after took way longer to print, and maybe it looked a little bit better, but not better enough, at least in my opinion, to justify the additional time it took to print it.
Now, are you thinking about doing the work and swapping a nozzle to a bigger nozzle?
Not not right now, maybe. I
I, 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 I'm probably not going to do it because there is a downside to this. Bridging and overhangs don't print as well with a bigger nozzle.
okay.
And
That
I
makes
have
sense.
some prints that need overhangs, and the the bigger the nozzle, the taller your minimum layer height is
Yeah,
higher, and it's wider. So it's soft plastic that weighs more, that just wants to gravity
do
wants to pull it
bad
down.
things. I
Yeah,
thought when I watched the video, I thought, hey, this would be really neat if I had two printers, which I will in the future because I've been printing lots of, I don't have one near, but I've been printing lots of these ESP32 cases, and there's no overhangs on those. And I thought, hey, this would be neat if I had a separate printer with the bigger nozzle just cranking out these things that I'm selling on Tindy. And then
Yeah.
I'd have another printer for other stuff, for tinkering, where maybe that I wouldn't have to worry about bridging and overhangs.
This would be a pretty good reason to have the new E3D Revo hot end where you can swap them in a minute without having
Yep.
to worry about heating up, cooling down, leaky plastic, or anything.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. It would be. I don't want to. I don't want to spend. I don't want to do it. I don't want to spend a ton of money on the Prusa XL and then turn around and immediately start tweaking my old Mark III. But
It,
That'd
it's
be
true.
a-
But if you get the XL, you can get two heads and have a 0.6 and a 0.4, or a 0.6 and a 0.35 or something. You could go
Yep.
more extreme
Yeah.
on the smaller one if you wanted to.
that would be fun.
And I'm curious about mixing those in the same print. I wonder if Prusa Slicer will be able to do that. Do your overhang layers with the 0.3 and do the 0.35 and then do the chunky layers with the big boy.
That'd
I
be
wonder if-
interesting. If anybody
But
knows,
Tom seems excited about it, and he's got a really badass shirt. I like that Hawaiian shirt that he has.
he's got an awesome shirt.
I would wear that shirt. I think that counts as an episode.
I think so too. We talked
Was
about
that 3?
3? Is anybody counting? Yes. Lumen PNP laser and nozzle diameters. How do you pronounce vernier?
You do. It's not. You don't say it sounding French.
I don't know. I think everything that you said that's got that many E's and N's and I's and R's in it sounds French. Like premier. That sounds French.
She wouldn't eat scalloped potatoes because she didn't eat seafood.
Yeah, that's a deal breaker for sure.
She would write, "I have to go." 1/2, half,
Full.
but spelled out. She said, "Burger King." I just couldn't bear it.
Burger King.
Yeah, I think I like the J. Kim makes vernier scale. Should I say it every different way?
Vernier. Vernoir. I want to.
Vernoir.
This QR code thing's been a fun fidget spinner. Oh, I should have done this. I recorded this in 30 frames per second instead of 60.
That's good.
Well,
I'm not doing any slow-mo. I want you to look smooth and like a human, like a TV show. I want you to look cinematic. Cinematic. He even shows us on paper here, Tubby. Tubby, do you drink coffee?
I drink coffee, yes. I'm a fan of it.
I also drink coffee, and I'm disappointed that J. Kim Makes has this fantastic, cool vernier scale 3D print to put on several different coffee grinders, but not mine. I don't have a coffee grinder that can accept this sort of that. Mine are not this fancy. Is
I guess
the
I guess
trouble.
you got to tell Santa you want a fancy grinder for
Well,
Christmas.
they're pretty expensive, but what I'm excited about, I've always seen vernier calipers, but I don't even know how to read them. Do you know how to read?
I don't. I'm going to be honest here. I don't even know what vernier scales or calipers are, Tubby.
Well, this is fantastic because I was excited about this because it's a coffee video, but he does this fantastic job. JKim_makes on YouTube here. It's he did printouts on paper to show us how the vernier scale works. And I'm going to skip in just a little bit here to where he's... Just so I could talk to you about it, Tubby. Not so much so that we can play this for the people. So you have, like, say you had millimeter marks from 1 to 10 millimeters on 2 different pages. So every time you click it once, you move a millimeter. The vernier scale is set up so that they're offset by 1/10 of a millimeter. So when you move it over, oh, I can't explain this, Tubby. I don't know how in the hell this works, but you move it over and you count how far past the one you lined it up with. Like if it doesn't line up, and if you move it 1 millimeter, but the lines don't line up for 7 more millimeters, that means you've moved 1.7 millimeters and not 1. Is that right? I don't know if we can make an episode out of this, Tubby, because I'm unprepared to explain this to you.
This is problematic.
And I don't want to listen to him tell me because you won't be able to hear it.
Yeah, should we postpone it for a month?
Yeah, let's postpone this one for a month. We're gonna
And
call
then you need to give me homework, and I need to.
Can we call him Mulligan?
Our 3 viewers can weigh in on it. Part Duex. Do we want to grid finitize or?
That's what I'm thinking. I'm gonna check and see. I'm checking real quick to see if I've upvoted anything on Reddit that I would like to.
We could talk about Peter McKinnon's multi-tool.
Yeah, but I don't have enough nice to say about it. I'm kind of negative on it, and I like to talk about things I like.
I like that it locks into place.
Did you see this 3D print?
I did not.
Do you know who that is?
Yes.
I will replay that video.
I
That's
can't think of.
EUC Duck.
That's what's the actor's name? The voice actor.
Is there a voice actor for? There has to. I don't know his name.
There has to be. I don't know his name. Mark Hamill.
I'm ill prepared to talk about more Gridfinity stuff because I don't remember what all's in there at all.
I remember something really important in
I
there.
only remember, but that means both of us remember the same one thing, and I think that's problematic. I'm going to click through one more thing before I commit to anything. Why did they hide that under another click?
I haven't played Into the Breach yet.
Oh, Into the Breach, there's an update. And it's fantastic. Well, I don't know if the update's fantastic. I didn't turn on much of the update because I turned it on and I got demolished, and then I turned it off.
You got your feelings hurt.
I really did get my feelings hurt, and my robots all died.
It's like me. It's like me in Civ 6. I've reached a point where the difficulty level I've been playing at is too easy, and the next difficulty level up is way too hard.
It's too hard.
Hey, James.
Oh, tell James we need to figure out what to talk about next.
We ran out of things that we're prepared to talk about. We're well prepared. No, not even well prepared. That we're moderately prepared to talk about. So we're scouring through our list of things, and Pat's desperately browsing Reddit looking for things he's found.
Well, now I'm checking my liked videos on YouTube. Boy, this last one, I've watched too many videos on the TV in here, and I rarely click like on the TV because it's not. You have to click down and over and up and around, and then and I just don't do it. Matt's cool cameras here, but I'm not terribly prepared, and it feels like cheating to talk about something that has 300,000 views already.
Yeah.
Do you think it
Did
really
you
has?
see?
Jeez, Lou, it does not have 300,000 views.
That's like 2
already.
million.
1.2.
Did you see the Stuff Makes Here video on the puzzle solving machine?
Yeah, but it's only half done.
It's only half done, but I thought it was really interesting, and it's
I wanted to ask Steven about it because I'm wondering if there's any.
yeah.
If that's I wouldn't be surprised because it's a pick and place machine.
It's a pick and place machine. It's doing almost a lot of the same stuff, but the math
in a lot of the
the math on figuring out the exact shape of the puzzle pieces
is
was
really cool.
Is really cool. Was really interesting.
The camera setup that he used that has no
that has no
that we're so prepared for we have no idea what the term is for
the
that.
big long
No
lens
clue.
that fixes it
Yeah.
thing.
It's the big long magic lens. It- Don't go nowhere.
I'm not.
He went somewhere. Did you see that?
My whole job today is to make outtakes.
Tubby, I have a box.
Do you?
Yeah. Because I have something in it we were going to talk about 10 months ago. And I would be okay talking about it. Oh, it's still full of Benadryl, too.
I want to ask
Tubby.
James. What?
3-minute episode is what I've got. You go ahead and keep talking. I'm going to find the...
Well, I was going to ask James if he was one of the people who scanned by QR code. James, did you scan my QR code? I noticed on my on our web analytics that someone from San Antonio visited that page on my website. What's in your cardboard box? What's in the box?
Would you believe me if I told you there's another box in that box?
I would believe you. Is it an articulated 3D calibration
It
cube?
is. Loop. Set this to loop so it keeps playing. Hey, Mr. BrianCMcMoses.com. Are you over there?
I am over here.
Do you ever print calibration objects on your 3D printer?
I don't print as many as most 3D printing enthusiasts seem to print. How about you?
Do you know, I haven't printed one in ages. But I'm going to check something before we get too far here. I'm going to get out my non-vernier calipers here.
Non-vernier calipers.
I found, like 6 months ago, and I've been meaning to tell you guys, I found the coolest calibration object ever. The calibration cube. I'm at 20.29 by 20.03. Uh-oh. I don't know what other axis I didn't measure because 19.97 on this calibration object. This, Tubby, can you see this?
I can see it.
Is an articulated calibration
It's
cube.
got a hinge.
It's got a hinge. There's some, I put some Benadryl in there because that's about all I could find that fit, and they were pink, and I thought that was cool. These Benadryl have been in here for 6 months in a drawer waiting for me to tell you about this cube.
I'm glad your allergies haven't been too bad.
Me too, or I would have had to take these old pills here, Tubby. The this gentleman whose name I never know how to say. It's
We'll put it up on the screen.
Agabepbiz. Agabepbiz. I can't say it. I don't know.
That's a mouthful.
I know, right? I wonder if somebody else has said it so I could say it. He has 134,000 subscribers on YouTube. We've printed his articulated F-14
Okay.
fighter jet before.
That's
He has a lot of these little articulated things.
That's a
But this is my
fantastic
new
design.
favorite because I can measure this. And I don't have to throw it away. I can keep my treasures inside.
You
like
can
my
measure
Venom.
the F-14.
Yeah, but I can't measure it accurately. And the wings wobble. So, and the dimension where I'm short a tenth of a millimeter, I think it's the one where it's got some play
Okay.
to it. And it's your kind of object, Tubby, because it's print in place.
I like print and play stuff.
You don't have to assemble this. It just comes ready to... So next time you need to calibrate your printer to make sure it's printing 20 by 20 by 20 millimeters.
That's what I'm going to be looking for when my Prusa XL comes in.
Can you hear that?
How big can you scale it up? I want to make a
You want to make a 200 by 200 by 200.
10 times as big.
Oh, shirt. I wonder what would happen. I always wonder if the print in place articulation, like, will it sag and under its
Yeah.
own weight so it won't work, or because it might not.
Might be
But
fun
we
to
could cut
find
that out to scale that up. Just scale up that to the 200 millimeters and make sure it works, and then print a giant.
I like this.
Don't
idea.
anybody go nowhere. I'm gonna slice one real big. Plus. Art. Oh, no, I'm in the wrong directory. Is why I'm never gonna find it here. This is my stuff. Hinged is the word I have to find.
It's on Thangs. That looks like Thangs to me.
It is on things. No, I can't find it. Download model. What?
Is it making you sign in?
Oh, yeah. Well, Thangs is off my list because I don't want to have to sign in just to download a model here. Do we get it? Downloads. $200 millimeter.
How big is the Prusa XLs?
Just barely big enough for this because of one of the axes. I'm going to redo this. Let me switch the window here that I'm sharing because this is hysterical. Share. Oh gosh, it went away. Window. Is that Super Slicer now? Can you see that, Tubby?
I can. It is.
Are you ready?
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Look at the size of it. Oh, geez, I'm afraid to slice it. Let's bring it up to something faster and bigger. 625 layers.
That's not that bad.
No errors detected. It is a 20-hour and 41-minute print with my fast settings. It is $22 worth of filament.
So a spool.
Well, almost 873 grams, she says.
87% of a spool.
God, look at how far that's going to have to bridge. Look at that. How do we move this here? Look at this. It's going to have to bridge like 50 millimeters. It's not undoable, but it's... Good gravy. Golly, the walls, like the bottom where you can't store anything is 69.5 meters high. Millimeters.
69.5 meters.
Yeah, those walls are thick, boys. They've got to be 10 millimeters. Oh, but look at the size of that Y and the X on here. Oh, geez, don't
How much
move it.
over? Yeah.
I accidentally moved it. It's not on the build plate anymore. That won't slice right anymore.
Gonna have to
But
generate.
this counts
support
as an
material.
episode, right, Tubby?
I think it counts as an episode. I
Oh
think
yeah, Tubby. Is it going to need supports to hold the ceiling up?
the ceiling, the
The,
the roofs of the letters.
oh my gosh. Yeah, this will need. Well, is that blue? That's a bridge. It's calling that a bridge, and it's going to try to bridge. It won't need supports there. I don't think it's printing the tops of the. Oh no! Purple. What's purple? Solid infill. Yeah. I don't... Oh no! There's blue. It's bridges across the tops of the letters, and they're only. Gonna be.
Should we live stream? What color should we print it in? We could live stream the print of it. You could just check on it, like
All day.
Octoprint.
We could. You know, we took the 3D printer to a show for the Makerspace. I did a print that we always did of a Buddha. I forget which Buddha. Stormtrooper Buddha, I think we did. But I specifically dialed in the speed so it would take 8 hours to print the whole just so that it would. One print job would start in the morning and finish by the time we were leaving. We could
Super.
we could make
high-
this a 3-week print. Is
Yeah.
kind of what I'm saying. Yulia is correct because these
There's
little
a-
Altoid Benadryls are about the size of a Tic Tac.
And there are accessories for that, right? Like a tongue and a mouth for that
Who's
object.
it talking about? I was reading
Isn't there-
TV and I'm
Isn't
slow.
there accessories for it, like a to give it fangs and a tongue?
Oh yeah, I think there's other
Scale that
there's
up
other
to
prints that have these things.
scale those up to.
And I'm mostly here with Made in Texas 3D. I hardly ever print calibration anythings or calibrate my. If I print something I need, and if it looks under extruded, over extruded, I might make a tweak and
Print it again.
That's That's usually it. Yeah. And with the Prusa, I didn't have to. I never had to do any calibration with my
No.
original, my very first Prusa i3, the not made by Joseph Prusa before Joseph was making printers. He was just designing printers. I did have to calibrate to get. I mean, I was off by a 0.5 millimeter probably
I had
when I
to-
got it.
I had to calibrate my MakerBot clone. I think
Yep.
he was a little skewed.
But that wasn't too. But you print one of these, you measure it, and you divide and multiply, and
Yep.
you get there. Oh, the trouble is Made in Texas 3D. If you do it in with only one extruder, the way this prints, the front is one piece and the back is one piece. So if you wanted to do two colors, you'd for that whole first 70 millimeters, you would have to be swapping filament. Oh no, that's not all the way up. You'd have to. I don't know what
Yeah.
I'm talking about. The whole
Unless
way
you have
up
the
top.
Prusa XL.
Yeah, or something. Oh yeah, this would be neat in one of those spools that change color as you go through the spool.
Yeah, it would be.
Well, I don't want to print this, Tubby. Not at
Printing, it's
200 I don't-
easy. You just slice it and you hit a button and then it goes.
And you watch.
And you watch and you wait. There were bits of the MK735 case that were longer than 20 hours. 20 hours at your fastest speeds.
Were they 873 grams of filament?
I don't think any of them were.
So we could turn the infill down on this.
Yeah.
For sure. Golly, am I going to slice it again? Put it back in the middle here. Infill. Geez, it's down at 13%. That's not exactly a lot. I don't think it's going to get much faster. Oh, we got it down to 15 hours.
I'm awake for 15 hours every day. That's not even that long of a print.
So much material.
What could you store in there?
You don't want my answer. We have to print it, measure it, and then print another cube, right?
Oh, jeez. A nesting doll of calibration cubes.
Oh my gosh,
I got a new.
Tubby.
I spent a ton of money on a new printer, and I printed 400 calibration objects.
Well, you could probably fill the whole thing with 2 spools. One spool to do the outer shell, and then the second spool would probably print all of them that would go inside, every layer.
God, that would be funny.
Oh, but you know what? You could probably even print all the rest in the second print job. You know, all lined up next to each other.
Yeah, I bet you're right. We'll start making the
God bless
object.
it. God bless it. Oh, it'd look nice in this purple. I don't trust it though for a whole print. This purple silk.
Okay. Chris's
I don't
filament.
trust it to not get gummed up or something over 20 hours with the silk in it. It's
Yeah.
not silk. It's polyester fibers or something that make it shine, but it's fibers. So there's a thing in there that could go poorly.
Fibrous.
But does that count as our 4th episode, Tom?
I think that counts as an episode. That was fun.
Thank goodness.
We've had that on
Can
the
you
list
believe I
for.
had that in a box over here? Now I
Ready
can
to
throw
go?
this away.
You've been
I've been
you've
wanting
been hanging
to-
on to that for 6 months.
I have. Does it say in our notes how long I've really been hanging on? No. No, but I bet it was new when I
Put it on there. When
yeah.
does the object have any dates on it? And tangs.
August 2021. So it's a year old.
I'd believe that.
And it could have been on our list for that long. Or most of that time.
I don't think I'm going to get my printer in 2022.
No. How big can you print it on a... Is that in Super... Oh, I won't have it. I don't want to goof up my... I was going to say, does it have a
Mark.
fancy Prusa? Prusa XL print volume.
36 centimeters cubed.
That's 160 millimeters taller than... Well, you know what that means I can do, though, right? It'll give me errors, but it'll let me slice that.
Just on your smaller bed.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go to 350. We'll leave some good.
Some wiggle room.
Yeah. Oh, it won't let me slice. No, slice it anyway. Just do it. Printer settings.
Just don't save any of your changes.
Don't save. It's true. Oh, there we go. I put it back in the inside. 1,094 layers with a 0.32 millimeter layer height.
I'm going to need
Oh,
that
it's
0.6
chonking.
millimeter nozzle for that for sure.
1 millimeter. Full millimeter.
Just
Do-do-do-do. In non-stealth mode, 3 days, 7 hours, 3.6 kilograms of filament.
my cruiser weighs one.
What's 3.6 times 2? 7. This weighs this weighs as much as my 18.4 inch jumbo laptop with the 12-cell battery. My old 12-year-old my laptop from 12 years ago.
That's funny.
You'd have to set up 3 tools with 4 tools with kilogram spools on each
Just the
one to
same
switch out.
Yeah.
Good gravy. Well, that didn't take up my whole print bed because I set it to 500 millimeters. It is
That's
not.
smart.
It's a fictional printer. That doesn't exist.
Did you know that there's a Banana for Scale Twitter account?
No.
Scale
But I'm about to look
underscore
it up.
banana.
Twitter. You know who my favorite Twitter account is now, Tubby?
Brian C. Moses.
No. Sorry. No. It's the Wilfred Brimley
Cocoon
line.
line. Yeah.
The Cocoon line. Yeah. It tells you, it tweets out who is now the same age as Wilfred Brimley was when Cocoon came out in 1984.
Winona Ryder last week.
Yep. Why does the Banana for Scale not have any bananas?
I'm
in
wondering
most
the
of
same
these
thing.
things?
They're kind of funny though.
I enjoy the IT support.
Yep, that's funny. I like the aerodynamics of the cow from today.
Can I share this window so that everybody else can follow along? Zoom in, maybe. IT support, right there. A map of the planet if you were a fish.
There's the
38 years ago, these four men saved New York City, and Chris only knows who two of them are.
and she
And
only
she
knows.
thinks one of them's Bill Murray. Well, Tubby, do you know what this Banana for Scale account? This is just Imager, but on Twitter. Five megabytes of data on punch cards in 1966.
I'm disappointed there's no bananas. There's one. Holy moly.
Oh, they faked me out. I thought this was going to be one. It was just yellow tape.
You have to go all the way down to May 5th.
Jeez. Well, I'm already
There it
almost.
is.
There's a banana on May 5th, but it's just a banana next to another banana.
It's a banana acting as a scale for another. It's a huge banana. Look at it.
It's a really big banana.
It's well endowed.
That's not how a wrench works.
What's Winston's last name, Chris?
Tubby, she could Google that.
Look at those analytics.
Have we done a good job today?
I think we did a good job.
I was really worried before we did that last episode because
We were gonna have to do another live stream to do an episode
Yeah,
we were actually
make it up.
prepared for.
hopefully you guys will tune into the Create and Vent podcast because I hear we're going to be interviewing again the lovely gentleman Matt Perks from the DIY Perks YouTube channel. Next week?
I don't
Well, I don't know
know.
how long it'll take us. The episode will probably be published in a month or so. I don't know if I'm supposed to tell people that. I don't know if we're supposed to. I don't know if I'm like. I didn't sign an NDA, so don't yell at me if Jeremy's mad.
He can dock your pay.
Yeah, you can. Well, what do you say, Tubby? Should we call it an evening?
I think we should. Thanks everybody for coming out.
Yeah, thank you all so much. Made in Texas 3 Dimensions, and thank you for showing up, and our good friend James showing up. That's exciting, and I know Richard up there.
Wyatt Derp.
Yeah, I feel like, what was the kids show? I wonder if that was even nationwide. I wonder if that was just out of New York or something, where they looked in the mirror and said the names of a whole bunch of kids at the end of every episode.
I do not know this.
I'll look that. I'll put, if this was an episode, I'd paste it in here. But I can't. And Made in Texas, right? Matt is the nicest guy on YouTube, as far as I know. But you guys all have a good night. I'm going to remember to shut off all my recordings here. Sometimes I forget the camera and it records an extra hour.
Don't publish this as public. Make it unlisted.
Oh, thank you.
because
Tubby.
we're
I'm
trying
gonna
to win
remember
the
that.
algorithm.
You guys have a good